I'm here with Great Grandmaster Summer Stewart. Summer Stewart's been involved with the martial arts longer than me. I know you can't believe that. And probably longer than the curly-headed guy. So can you just give us a little bit of a background of your martial arts experience? And, you know, let the folks out there know the importance, and I'm significantly serious with this, the importance of your contributions to the martial arts. I notice you're also wearing a career and veterans hat, which we can get into or not, but like that you are a full-blown patriot, and there should be no doubt about that as well. So tell us a little bit about your experiences in the martial arts, when you started, where you started, and go for that. And if there's any other interesting information coming about, I'm sure
I have no idea. I'm still looking for a job.
the guy looking for a job will have something to say. Okay.
All right, it all started when I was around about 5, 7 years old. I was on a boxing team, kiddie boxing team at the YMCA. And there was this gentleman that I met because he was Oriental, and all the kids used to make fun of him because the fact that he was Oriental, and at that time, you know, if you had slanty eyes, everybody would do the Chinese, always the Charlie Chaplin and all that jack. Anyway, he asked me one day, because all the other kids used to make fun of him, he asked me if I would like to win all my fights. And I said, yes, I would. So he started training me. Now at the time, what he was training me to do, I didn't know what it was all about, but it was what we would call in this day and age, jujitsu, movements of jujitsu.
Yes.
Now the movements of jujitsu, I believe to this day that one of our greatest boxers, Sugar Ray Robinson, that's what he used to do. He would dance against the ring and make people look like a fool trying to catch him. Well, this person taught me how to dance while I was fighting. And from that day on, I didn't lose any fights. I even was going into the Golden Gloves finals. And unfortunately, that night before, I had appendicitis and had to be rushed to the hospital.
Ah.
So that ended my boxing. But after I got out of there, I still worked on the jiu-jitsu. And I didn't get in touch with anything else like that until I went to Korea. And I had my military partner there who was Korean. He was a lieutenant in the Korean Army. And so we used to go out on different cases, which I am not going to talk about, but I'll just mention the fact that we were in Busan once, and when we came back, we were walking down the streets of this city that was in Kunsan, and 5 guys came out of an alley screaming at him. And of course, being the ex-boxer, I got into this dance of boxing, and he said, cool it, just be quiet. And they just yacked at each other in Korean, and I'm still ready to, you know, get into it. Well, before I blinked, and when I unblinked, 5 guys were lying on the ground, and I wanted to know how the hell they got there. And so I said to him, what did you just do? And he said, nothing. I said, don't give me that. What did you just do? These 5 guys are not lying on the ground for nothing. What was that you used? And so I had to blackmail him, because he wasn't going to tell me. And I said, well, you remember when we went to Busan, all the fun we had there when we was on that case? And he says, yeah. I said, how do you think Marguerite would like that, hear about that? And he looked at me and he says, you wouldn't. I said, well, then tell me what that was. And so he decided, okay. He started teaching me. And that's when I was introduced to the 3 major martial arts systems in Korea: Tansudo, Mudokan, and Taekwondo. Now, Taekwondo, the military took that over because a soldier was not supposed to lose his weapon, so he had to learn how to use his feet when he was fighting. Mudokan was only for the hands. Tuxedo was doing hands and feet. And I figured that since I had the feet part as well, I need to get the hand part. So I learned it there. And I just kept doing it. When I came back to the States, I started working with people. And the next thing I knew, I was going to Taiwan. And there I met the people that changed my military life completely.
Well, that's just okay.
Anyway.
Anyway, my father is older than all of us here. He's
That is
93.
true.
And he's the guy got me into the first place. And then when I was 2, my grandmother taught me to rap, Chinese opera.
And that's when you got your first black belt, when you were 2.
No.
Oh,
I
okay.
was just watching. And was watching, and then my father would do the exercise when I was very young, and then he would party in the 20s. Now he's the 90s, and then so when they hit the gong after dinner, that's when everybody comes out. So it's traditional, just like American plays baseball, football, basketball, same thing. So it's nothing new for me. I mean, they've seen the movie and stuff. My first exposure was with my father, and opera, kung fu opera. The kung fu was in the opera. My grandmother loved opera. She's the one that actually raised me. And then that's it. And then I got involved, and then I didn't take this stuff seriously, because it was always part of the tradition, like you watching TV, soap opera, and KMBC or whatever, CNN. Until I get into 14 something years old, 13, 14, and somebody just chopped me bam like that on my throat, karate chop, and so next day I got serious, so I went to train and kick the guy's butt.
How old were you when that?
Like 13, 14.
Okay. Yeah. How old were you when you first started getting into some serious competitions?
Well, you gotta get it. I grew up in Harlem, New York.
All right, so as soon as you got born, you started getting into fights. Yeah, I understand that, man.
And I started getting into fights when I was in public school. I mean, the longest fight that I had, I went to public school number 5, which was about 5 blocks from my house. And I got into a fight in front of the school. And we fought from to 8th Avenue up to 7th Avenue, over from 136th Street to 142nd Street.
Don't you wish you had that kind of stamina now?
I wish I did. I was fighting two brothers. One would, when I was kicking the butt at one, the other one would jump in. But that one, I started there. But I had already started, as I said, I was 7 years old.
You started
I had all
younger
that,
than me.
and I had all of that experience.
You spent many, many years in Europe.
Yes.
What gave you the impetus to go to Europe? You weren't an expat, were you?
An ex-who?
Expatriate?
No.
No, you just were over there working, man. Yeah, I got
I was
you.
in the military when I first went to Europe.
Okay.
And then after I retired from the military, I started going back to the areas that I had visited when I was
Gotcha.
a soldier. So that meant I was in
What branch were you in?
Army.
Okay.
So I was in Malaysia.
Did a full 20?
Singapore, huh?
Did a full 20?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I went for 26 years. I served in Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and Germany, and all over Europe. And all over Europe, different places. And when I retired, I decided to go back to some of the places that I used to work in.
Ah, fantastic.
Except while I was there, I was in Portugal, and I met some people from Denmark, and they had invited me to come to Denmark to visit them. Well, when I got there, it seemed like everybody was still out on vacation, so I stayed for a week and got ready to leave. And while I was walking around the city, I looked up and I saw a sign that says Jiu-Jitsu. That's Jiujust. I wondered, what the hell is Jiu-Jitsu? That's the way it's pronounced. So I went up, and the guy said to me that the classes would start the next day. If I wanted to come by, I could. I did. So I went by, and I saw what they were doing, and as I sat there watching them, someone was watching me. And when the class was over, he came up to me and he says, "What was it we were doing wrong?" I said, "Why do you ask me that?" He said, "Because every time something happened, you would cringe. I'd make this ugly face, or I'd do one of these things." That's when they were throwing each other around. I said, "Well, I would say this much. If you continue this, by the time you're 35, all of you, you won't be able to walk or lift your arms up."
Yeah.
He says, "Why?" He says, "Because the way you're falling, you're injuring yourself. You're not falling properly." And I won't call it falling, I would call it landing, because that's exactly what you're doing. So they wanted me to show them what I was talking about, and they invited me to teach the class the next day.
Fantastic.
So,
Let me ask you a question, if I may, Eric. When did you first start teaching martial arts?
About 1968,
Was this before or after the movies?
before the film.
Okay. You've been in something like about 37 films, is that correct?
Actually, in a movie database, it said 37, but it's more than that.
Okay. Good.
It doesn't
That's a
matter.
curious,
It's just, I have to make a living, you know.
Yeah, I hear that, man. I'd like to do that someday before I die. But anyway, when you get into the martial arts, you know, you take a vow of poverty. It's curious that you said 37 movies, probably more, because I've written 37 books, probably more. I think you and I probably knew each other on another plane.
It doesn't matter, it's my past.
You know, you gotta, everything I tell him, or everything I ask him, he always says it doesn't matter, nothing matters to this man.
It is not.
This is supreme confidence. Did you develop your supreme confidence from the martial arts, or is this an innate thing inside of you?
Well, I think I get it from the inside. It takes time to study. I read a lot of people, and having won a lot of championship give me a lot of self-esteem and confidence. And so, you know, it's not, I have to give credit to everything I got it from the people, from myself, from the book I study. So everybody's my teacher.
Who was your main, as far as all of your teachers go, who was your main influence?
Well, everybody serve.
I realize everybody plays an important part in the development and growth of an individual. But is there one in particular person that
No
you...
one, I can say one, because everybody
Okay.
help me.
Very political answer.
No, help me to when I was going into development, a certain stage, and everybody's valuable. I'm kind of eclectic. I know the traditional, and
Good.
I know the newest one. And some of the people, some of the no people are Jean LaBelle, Alta Costco, Wally J, and some of the people, and then and I changed a lot of stuff from my friends, and you know, from techniques, and a lot of it is try to figure it out and put it together and make it work, and that's all. So I'm more of a selective learner.
Let me ask you a question, Professor Stewart. If you had one question to ask Eric Lee, what would it be?
Ask me.
Because Eric and I were talking the other day about when you talk to someone that you're intimate with on a personal level, they generally know your weak spots.
We are good. We are in the middle of a blind spot. Is that what you're saying?
A blind spot, yeah. What question would you like to ask Eric Lee?
My blind spot.
yeah, that's it. What is a blind spot?
Very
That's
heavy
fine,
question.
right.
You want to answer that in front of like my three viewers?
To respond to that, I have to ask him, what do you see?
No.
Blind spot.
I want you to answer the question.
I don't know my blind spot. I have to ask him.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Otherwise, I would tell you right away.
All right. Well, I already know what it is.
You see, that's
Like eat dim sum.
Yeah, right. I'll bring you over to the house. I'll introduce you to Tango. And you
I can't do Tango.
yeah, no, he's a great little bird.
I would like to learn.
Yeah, not dancing, Tango the bird.
Tango. Oh, tango is a bird. I don't know. Tango is dancing to me.
Professor Stewart, I'm really getting fed up with him.
He cannot get over with it. You're gonna miss me all that stuff.
I am. As a matter of fact, you and I just met last Saturday.
I think he like it.
And I will say this publicly. I think you and I have become fast friends, and I am sure that it's going to last for many, many, many days. Anyway,
We go to the same barber.
we go to the same barber. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Okay. So, do you see anything that you'd like to, or do you know anything, or would you think of anything you would like to ask Eric Lee?
Don't put him on the spot.
I want to put him on the spot. This
Don't
is
do that.
Hanshi's world.
He's just trying to relax.
you know.
You with this relaxed. I'm relaxed.
Do I look like stressed out? Well, I'm one
I don't do stress.
I know I'm from Oakland, but I'm not sure I'm Chinese. Maybe he's lying the whole time.
You know what? So Professor Stewart, yeah, let me tell you something. This is why I like doing the show, okay? Because we're talking just like guys, man. We're not like,
guys.
That's
Not
right.
serious.
I mean, we're
Just
serious when we have
We
to.
have
and
fun.
we- Okay.
Nobody can kick my ass or your ass. So why serious?
Watch out for the guy. See, this chair that he's sitting in here actually has machine guns coming out of the handles, so
I'm very protective of that chair.
of the chair. Yeah. No, it's interesting that the older we get, and I think the young people out there should know this, that there's a camaraderie that exists between masters. Okay? And I'm not being naive here when I say that, but there's an understanding because we've all gone through certain levels of development and certain levels of growth that have dramatically affected our lives. Okay? So let's kind of wind this up with one question each. I'll start with you if I can, Eric. What is the most significant aspect of the martial arts that you experienced that has dramatically affected your life?
Talking to me? You must be talking to me. You pointing the camera here. Okay. I would say appreciation for everything I have experienced in life. I happen to like everything. I like to make friends. I clinch fists, cannot shake hands. I like to travel, like to eat. And I would say I was given that kind of a mentality, mindset, and so it works for me. And then I carry on to the art. And I didn't not just give credit to the martial art, even though greatly I do that. And I would say discipline, give me good health, and then I have opportunity to share some knowledge to some of the people who might be interested. If they're not interested, that's okay. Throw me away and then fly me down the toilet. I don't care. And
Okay.
I'm very open for that. And so I learned to be at the moment. What your camera pointing to me is to capture the memory of the future.
Yes.
Okay, so one thing I learned from the martial art is letting go. I don't hold anything back, and then I'd be able to have the talk therapy with friends and share their wisdom to me. I share my wisdom to them. Unfortunately, sometimes when we get the experience, so-called wisdom, we are too old, but it's never too old to share.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Eric.
You're welcome.
Professor Jonathan Stewart, what is the most profound experience you have had in the martial arts?
Meeting some of the profound people that I have met. during my time within the martial arts. I learned from some very great masters. Some of them, most of the people in this country or in any other country except the country that they're in would ever know anything about them. And I can appreciate that because what I learned from them is something that I carry on throughout the rest of my life. And the question that you had asked Eric here was one that he stole it from me, took it out of my mind and put it in his mouth with things that I was thinking, which we do a lot in this martial arts, those of us who are able to. But the greatest thing that I can look back on and see in my experience in the martial arts was when I went to Taiwan. And there I was looking for someone to teach me what we call now today karate. I got a phone call from one of the teachers that I wanted to work with. He asked me to come up to his school. I did, and then to make this short, he got me on the floor, put one hand behind his back, and said, show me what you know. And what I knew was nothing, because I couldn't touch the man, even with one hand behind his back. Every time I would throw a kick or a punch, he blocked it. Then he asked me, he says, okay, he was going to teach me. So I went the next day, walked in, and he said to me, greeted me, and said, Chonso. And I did. I sat down. An hour later, he came back and said, see you tomorrow.
Fantastic. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah.
And then one day he sat down beside me and he started showing me how he wanted me to hold my hands. And he would come in and show me that, get up and walk away, come back an hour later and say, see you tomorrow. Well, this went on, and what he was doing was testing me. I realized that, after a while, that he was testing to see if I really wanted to know and study what he had to teach me.
Okay.
Well, that did happen. He started teaching me, and
Go ahead.
one of his black belts, he was 18 years old, which is very young for a judo black belt practitioner there in China. Anyway, this kid wanted to learn what I knew from what I had picked up before going there. And so I would be working out with him. But one day his uncle came by and he saw me working out and he said, okay, can I work out with you? And we worked out together. Well, it got to a point that when he would come, all the judo students would always wait because they wanted to see us work out and fight.
Yeah.
Well, this one time, my students that I had who were Americans and Chinese, everybody was in the dojo, was full because they knew he was coming. When he got there, got on the floor, bowed in, stood and watched each other. And after a while, we bowed, bent, and walked into each other and hugged. And everybody said, well, when are they going to fight? The only person that was clapping was my teacher.
There you go.
They did fight.
There you go. They just did fight.
And from that, he took me to see his master.
Okay. Listen, had I known that my technical abilities would have permitted me to
Be a part of this.
be part of this, I would have certainly taken advantage of that. But I'm very glad that I didn't, because I'm obviously the host of Hanshi's World, and they see me all the time. But here we had an opportunity to give you two superb gentlemen an opportunity.
It's a privilege.
It's a privilege to be on your show, man.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate that. Man.
And you folks are watching Hanshi's World. This episode will definitely go down as one of the better episodes we've had. With me is Master Eric Lee, Professor Jonathan Stewart. These two gentlemen have done more for the martial arts than I would say the vast majority of people that you know. Everyone we get on Hanshi's World has made a significant contribution to the arts. Okay, and there's nothing to be humble about. Fact is fact. Thank you very much for watching the show. If you have any questions, you know how to get me, hanshisworld@gmail.com. Thank you very much for watching. Next time.
I'm just working here. I'm looking for a job. Do you have a job? Like clean up the table, wash the bathroom?
Back it up. All right, anyway, so Summer,
Did you just call him Henry?
let's just, huh?
You just call him
Jonathan.
Nobody calls him.
I know that.
Why did you use Henry?
You want me to call you Henry?
No,
No, you did.
you
I
did.
said Summer.
No,
But you said
Henry.
Henry Stewart when you first introduced him. Sorry, dude.
I'm here
Jonathan
Yes,
Stewart.
right. Do it right now.
at the martial arts old age home with with Jonathan Stewart, great grandmaster. Eric Lee,
I'm just working here, man.
he's
I
just
told you.
working here, man,
I'm
trying to get
getting
a
my
job.
application.
The inestimable Deborah Payne,
Chauffeur at large.
okay, and yours truly, Hanshi Steve Kaufman. So we're just going to talk with Professor Stewart about things that he wants to talk about, and
Give some wisdom to the young kids.
he'll give some wisdom to the young kids. Are you ready? So let's just shoot this thing.
Oh, for you youngsters.
Talk a little
that
louder. Make
youngster,
believe
that-
this is
That's
yeah.
the youngster over there. Yeah, you know, the guy behind the camera there.
That's right. I'm a youngster compared to you.
Yeah.
That's why I called Eric kid. You know, but okay, here we go.
Okay. What's your question?
What do you want to answer?
Not anything that you're going to answer me.
Nice talk. Nice talk. Who said we need the light?
Yeah, okay.
All right. So, can you just give us a little bit of a background of your martial arts experience?